Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Clutch Report. Today we have a special guest, a friend of mine known as Balaji Sharma, or popularly known as Balaji. He happens to be a, a big RCB fan, also a big Max Verstappen fan. So we're going to be discussing the India-South Africa test match that recently concluded, and also some of the retentions and the releases from the IPL teams. First of all, Balaji, how are you doing?
Good. How y'all? It's been a rough couple of days for Indian batting and Indian coaches. That test
Yeah.
is still not sunk in.
Yeah, me and Karak have been discussing the last 3 days. Karak had some very strong views about this test match. But I'll come to you first, Balaji. What is your general opinion of this test match? Do you think it was one we sort of threw away, or was it the pitch? Like, what was your first impression at the end of the game?
I don't know what the BCCI is doing. They made these turning tracks, but they're not able to adapt the teams into like finishing matches on these tracks. Like they're failing themselves. Of course, we have great spin, but it's not the spinners that did the job in this game. Also, it was like Bumrah got the fiver in the first innings, and then even in the second innings, it was just Jaddu with that 4 wickets. But I think the South Africans like came in clutch in the second innings. Their bowling was great. I think that new bowler Simon,
Simon
he
Hammer.
really yeah, Simon Harmer. He really harmed the Indian backbone for sure.
Karak, you know a little bit about Simon Harmer. Do you want to tell us something about him?
Okay, so Simon Hammer is a dear friend of mine. You know, he played season two and season three with the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Season two we won in SA20. Obviously, I've worked with Sunrisers and such a gentleman. Like, you know, he's such a hardworking guy. So he got traded from Durban Super Giants, and there was this incident where in the semifinals, we traded him for John Smuts, who's a PE local guy, right? And Simon Hammer, the man, like, you know, obviously a ex-Durban player, comes in. Markram takes an absolute stunner of a catch, and Simon Hammer goes to Smuts and goes, "Come on!" And you won't believe this, right? When he did that, the entire team came forward and was like, listen, if that guy is showing that much passion for a wicket, we got this. So he's like one of the best team players you can ever have in your team. And just how good he's just so good with all the boys. Like, you know, he's one of the first guys in the bus, first guys outside the bus, first guys ever to have a drink outside. And he's just so welcoming. For me, like, you know, I'm just a guy who works there, and, you know, he's so welcoming that, hey, Rohit, why don't you come and have a drink with me? So that's one of the best characteristics about South Africans in general. And Simon,
Yeah.
the man, just is such a sweet guy. And also, listen, what a performance, right? Like,
Yeah.
the way he bowled and just the way he was celebrating after every wicket. Like, if you just go back and just watch how he was celebrating, it felt like he needed it more than anybody else, right? And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the sport. And he's 36 years old, Shiv and Balaji, 36, and he's actually playing his fifth test match for South Africa. So kudos to him, and I'm just so happy that, you know, someone like him got the man of the match.
Yeah, I mean that's a great story. And yeah, 8 wickets. I think it was a tough contest between him and Temba essentially. But Balaji, coming back to you, did you think the pitch was as bad as they're making it out to be, or do you think 124 was definitely like chaseable for us in the final innings?
I think definitely as like the days pass by, right? Like it gets harder to bat on. I, you saw that with both their double second innings scores, and as the days passed, it was getting harder to bat on. There was more turn and everything, but 124 with an experienced team. I'm saying experienced team because this team has like some really like they have Washi who actually debuted in 2018. We have like Jadeja and Aksar. We have the likes. Okay, let's just talk about batting. The chase 124. We have KL who's been in the side for what 15 years now, and we have Pant who's been there from what 2017, 2018 again. He was part of the Gaba test as well. So I did think we had the batting to get us past that scoreboard, but I just think it's the top order that failed us completely. Like,
Yeah. No, and also like with the pitch, I think the fast bowlers, it had something for the fast bowlers and the spinners. If you look at Bumrah, of course, taking 5 wickets, Jansen got a few wickets also in both innings, and I don't want to say unplayable deliveries, but it kind of felt like the fast bowlers were getting extra bounce. Some balls were also keeping low, and the spinners also had a lot of turns. So it was a very bowler friendly wicket, but I still think 124 was very chaseful. What did you think, Karak?
No, I just thought that we bottled it in the first innings also. I thought we were cruising, 124 for two, and we should have just like gotten a lead of 100. And at the end, we only got a lead of 31 runs, which was a proper bottle job. And also on the third day when Bavuma and Corbin Bosch were
Mm-hmm.
playing, come on, claps, props to Bavuma. I thought Bavuma was sensational. But again, you cannot bowl that line and length to Corbin because, Corbin was smacking you in the first 1 hour where you just needed to be a little bit more tight on your lengths. And if you got Corbin there, you could have kind of got like a total of 90 to win. And anything close to 120 to 150, even Dale Steyn said in commentary that if we get close to 120 to 150, game is on.
Yeah.
And if you go look at how Jaiswal got out in the second innings, the first 3 balls were absolute rubbish from Marco Jansen, right? He should have just whacked one for 4, whacked another for 4. If he had got 2 4s there, I'm telling you right now, we'd have won the game in the next 1 hour. But again, that's cricket, right? It's a matter
Mm.
of chances. And on the third ball, he bowls an absolute peach, the fourth stump line. And yeah, I think we bottled it. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I thought some of the decisions, like Akshay Patel trying to hit 16 runs off the over, and then he tries to go for another, which didn't make sense to me, where he could have just got a single and taken the strike with 31 runs to it. And it's Akshay, he's a great all-rounder. And again, Rishabh Pant, I don't know what he's doing. When it works out, it works beautifully. But when it
yeah,
doesn't,
It's
it's
ugly.
it's ugly,
it's
right?
really ugly.
Like his first innings, Corbin Bosch bowls the ball somewhere next to my house, and he goes and tries to whack it. Like these are all brain fade decisions. I
Yeah.
just don't understand it. And only Punt can get away with this. Let's be honest here. And I know that he saved us a lot, but I think it's high time to he just uses his brains a little bit and just plays normal cricketing shots. When it comes off, like you said, it looks beautiful. But then when it's ugly, it just gets really, really ugly.
Yeah. There's someone else I want to talk about, which is Gautam Gambhir. He came out and said that the pitch this is something that they asked for. It was very playable. If the batsmen applied themselves, like say Temba or Washington did, we might have got over the line. Do you guys agree with that?
And I think we've got it wrong in the Gautam Gambhir era. If you look at the stats, he's 8 games at home at we've only won 4 and lost 4. We've beaten Bangladesh and West Indies, and we've gotten absolutely smacked by New Zealand. And it kind of looks like we're gonna get smacked by South Africa too. And I just think we need to play to our strengths. And at this moment, it just doesn't look like the Indian batters are that equipped to play spin like how they were earlier on. And that's something I think we need to talk about because if you go look at how India plays in England, I feel like they play a lot more freely compared to how they play in India, which is a cause for concern because I feel like we have batters who are of tremendous quality. But if you make pitches like this, it becomes an even ground for even the opposition because if the ball is
Yeah.
spinning like that, you're also in a
Yeah.
disadvantage, right? And the whole point of having or playing at home is to have that advantage. So I just think that we need to go back to the drawing board, trust our batting, get that 550 on board, put that scoreboard pressure on the opposition, and I think things will be okay. But again, it's after New Zealand, I thought we'll learn our lessons, but it just doesn't look like we have learned our lessons. But again, Shiv, I have a follow-up question to you about this. I had a chat with a friend of mine and he mentioned that the Indian batsmen are letting Gambhir down. What do you think of that?
I think there's yes and no. Like you said about the pitches, I think we need to start making more competitive pitches where we at least play 4 days of cricket. You can't. I remember even in the New Zealand game, couple of games went to 3 days. An England series couple of years ago, one of them ended in 2 days. It's test cricket. It's supposed to be 5 days, right? We saw the India-England series few months ago, every game going down to the last day, and it was such an exciting prospect, right? You get the fans filled. Now, if fans are buying tickets for day 4, you might not even come and watch the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's become a little bit of a joke. And now, like you said, with the New Zealand series, they should have learned that nobody can bat on these pitches. It's not an even contest between bat and ball. Although I do think we could have applied ourselves a little bit better. Like Temba scored those 50 runs. Bosch got that, whatever, he pinched 26, 30 runs or whatever it was. Some of our dismissals were really silly, like Dhruv Jarrell. There's one fielder out there in the deep. Everybody else is
And
inside, and he
shot
picks him out. Like, that is the most silly shot you can play in that moment. Then punt also, I know it's just the way he plays, but he just smacks it straight back to, I think Simon Hammer got him out, right? So some of the dismissals are down to the batsman. Like, you have to apply yourself a little bit better. But on the other hand, like the way Jaiswal gets out to a pitch, you can't do anything about that. And a few, I think even KL Rahul got one which really like jumped on him. Can't really do much about. So it's a bit of both. But again, it just comes down to make more competitive pitches, because this is, I mean, I'm as a former bowler, I enjoy watching the ball dominate, but I still want more of an even contest.
Rohit, to your question, do you think more than letting Gambhir down, do you think this is the best 11 that India has in terms of batting? Like, do you think there's someone on this team who's not supposed to be there, or someone who's not in this team who should have been there?
If
Like,
you're
if
asking about Kohli, he's retired already. Unfortunately, he's
not
not
Kohli,
coming back.
not not Kohli, like we're talking about Sarfaraz Khan or Abhimanyu
Yeah.
Ishwaran, or like um you know
Sai Sudarshan.
Sai Sudarshan. Do you
No, I
think
think
this 11 is the one going into this cycle?
no, that's a great question actually. But I also think it again depends on the pitch. Like, if you look at what we did against South Africa in the last test, we had Washington Sundar, an all rounder. We had Akshar Patel, another all rounder. Ravindra Jadeja, another all rounder. And you
Exactly.
have Kuldeep Yadav also. And then Washington only bowls one over, and then he's promoted to one down,
Number
which
3, exactly.
which I see again. I think Washington is a special lad. I think he's going to be he's going to be one of the face of cricket in the in the coming years for India, because he's one of the few all format players. He can play one day, he can play T20, he can play Test. But then if you're not going to use him at the other end, then would you rather get a specialized batsman up top?
Exactly. Because you can't play 4 all-rounders. Like, I mean, 3 all-rounders, or it's just
Yeah.
not like fitting in. Like, you need a solid number 1. Although I would say, of course, Sundar did justice to that number 1 in like the second innings. He's probably the only one who scored like a 30 or so. It's still like, why you not playing a specialized batsman? Why you filling your team with like all-rounders? Like, you have Aksar, you have Jadeja.
Yeah.
Do you need to play one less?
I mean, based on his performance, it seems like Gautam Gambhir clearly trusts him to put him at number 3, and Gill
As
also
a
clearly
batsman,
trusts him.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he's backed it up. He's batted well. I know he scored some runs in England as well, some very important runs. But yeah, it's like an insult to his bowling that he only gets one over, because I think he's a bowling all rounder, right? He's a bowler first who happens to be a pretty decent bat also. So it's an insult to him on a pitch that is turning this much that you give him just one over. I understand that they have a lot of right-handers and you want that left arm spinner to be, spin it away, but you can still try. It's not like they can't get right-handed batsmen out, you know what I mean? It's not like you can give him at least 5-6 overs. And it's also an insult to Sai Sudarshan, right? Who's a specialized batsman. You have him in your squad. He's played in England. And you drop him and you basically tell him that no, we think Washington is better than you. So it's a tough one. I don't think based on what happened in this match, I don't think they'll change much. But do you guys would you like to see any changes in terms of the team for the second test?
I would say I think Sudarshan definitely deserves a chance, but who'll rest? Maybe Gill sits because he's injured.
Injured.
So bring in a Sudarshan, and I don't know. Siraj is like not looking like prime Siraj. He's not been able to deliver those innings. Of course, he bowled well and he took 2 wickets in the second innings, but he's not looking strong. I would say the same team stays, but like they should start adapting themselves, like you said. But of course, I definitely think Sudarshan deserves a chance. What do y'all think?
Also, coming back into, I think Shiv, we made a fair point about the Washington saga. We can call it the Washington saga at the moment because you see him as a bowling all rounder, but actually, he's a phenomenal bat too. But also coming into that team which they put on, they had Dhruv Jurel and they had Rishabh Pant, both specialized keepers. So we could also put a case that, hey, listen, after this, I thought Dhruv Jurel was a little underwhelming. I thought we expected a lot more from him, considering that he's coming in from a great India A game where he scored a beautiful century. And I will see dropping Jurel. And if you want to keep Rishabh Pant as your first choice keeper, keep him as your first choice keeper. Get in another specialized bat like a Sai Sudarshan where he plays in one down so that you can bat a lot more. You will essentially play with the same lineup, but you will have an extra sort of a batsman up front. Also, you bat a
Yeah.
little deep with Washington going into 5 down or 6 down. So that could perhaps be a move which they could do, or you just stick to the exact same team
Yeah.
and just make sure that you apply basics from ball one.
Yeah, I essentially, unless Gill is unfit, I essentially think they will go with the same team. For me, I think the bowlers have done their job. Maybe, of course, we could have out Timba out earlier, but largely, if you're getting a team out for 130 and 160 or whatever it was, the bowlers have done their job. It's the batting that has struggled, so we'll see if Sai Sudarshan comes in. But yeah, I mean, disappointing test match, and I hope that in the next one we at least get a 4-day test match, the bare minimum. And like I heard they didn't even water the pitch 3 4 days before the first day. I'm like, so I mean it's a bit of an embarrassment. I hope they learn their lesson before we go into the second one. But moving on from this test match to another bit of action that happened this week, which was the IPL retentions and releases. And what better place to start than the champions themselves? Balaji, an RCB fan, a Kohli fanatic. I mean, not much action there. I think you guys dropped Liam Livingstone, but
Yeah, that
what
was the
other
biggest
changes
drop.
were there?
I think let's go.
Yeah, I think Caracas just pulled up the releases and the players retained. So if we look at RCB, we've got, they dropped Liam Livingston, L-
Livingston,
Ngidi,
Amini Giri.
Agarwal. Yeah.
I think they're gonna buy back Mayank Agarwal maybe because I think they had that rule, right? The
Mm-hmm.
replacement players cannot be retained. Since he came in as a replacement, he's probably being released for that reason. But otherwise, this Swastik Chikara, I think everyone was speaking about how he's dropped because he wasn't giving Kohli enough space to celebrate his victory. He was invading Kohli's privacy, so
Yeah.
yeah, deserves to be
But
dropped, I guess.
you've got essentially the purse. I mean, 16.4 crores. You can probably go in for one big player, I'd probably say. What, as an RCB fan, what are you looking to buy probably to strengthen that squad? I know it's the defending champs, but if you're looking at one area, what would you probably look for?
I would say one overseas bowler because I think in terms of middle order batting we have, but if we lose Hazelwood, of course there's that Sri Lankan bowler was it Sri Lanka? He did play a game, Tushara,
Yeah,
Nuwan Tushara, yeah. But I think we need like one overseas experienced bowler that would seal the game.
yeah,
Even if not overseas, maybe um who's in the roster right now? Like I think Archer's released, right? If I'm not wrong. Joffrey
Has
Archer.
Archer
Archer been released?
Archer has not been released,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
then
he's retained.
he's retained. But then you
Oh,
can
he's
obviously go in
retained.
for a Fazalak Faruqi or someone from
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
Fazalak Faruqi, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so basically a fast bowling option, I guess, is what RCB will be looking at. But in terms of RCB news, there's also ownership change. I think the UB group is now considering selling the team. And do you who are the like front runners in terms of taking over the team now?
It's looking like Zerodha challenges Bangalore. Nikhil Kamath is I think the one of the chief bidders apart from Adar Punawala and who was the
I
other
think
guy you said, Shiv?
Ranjan Pai, I think, is also one of the bidders.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anything changes in terms of the RCB franchise if this ownership change happens.
But it would be
But
nice for it to go to like a Bangalore boy, maybe like Nikhil Kamath.
yeah, yeah,
These
yeah. Let's
RCB
see.
fans.
But moving from Bengaluru further south to Chennai, Rohit Suresh, this is a team that is looking for a full reset. Huh? Quite a few releases here, and also trading, I guess. Karak, you want to tell us about what's going on in Chennai?
Yeah, I think they finally realized that it's time to get some young guns in, and I'm happy for them. I think that Jadeja current trade to RR for Samson is an absolute juicy trade. I think Samson being a Mallu boy and just being such a crowd favorite in Chennai too. If you come and watch a game in the Chepauk Stadium, you know that people love Sanju Samson. So it's kind of like a great. It's a great process building for CSK finally. I think that they've got that answer after Dhoni leaves, or if he leaves in the foreseeable future. But again, I think no Rachin Ravindra. I think Devon Convoy being released, and then Pati Rana being released. So it kind
Yeah.
of looks like they want to completely alter their squad. I think they have around 9 spots to fill with 4 overseas. Maybe perhaps an Andre Russell in this
Mhm.
team, or a Cameron Green. If KKR go for Cameron Green, we know that KKR has the most amount of money in this mini auction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine an
CSK
Andre
has the
Russ,
second largest purse.
second largest purse. So imagine a 20 crore bid for Andre Russell, and Andre Russell in that yellow jersey with Dhoni being the captain is going to be a feast, huh?
20 crores seems like a bit much. I don't
Bit
think he's going to
much,
get
yeah.
that much money. But I think
I
the
think
interesting one with
about
Chennai,
10,
yeah, go
12.
ahead. Yeah, 10, 12
I think
probably.
10, 12 would be good, yeah.
I think KKR had him at 12, but they kind of felt like he's gone past his peak also.
Yeah.
Because his last season he didn't really perform that well. But maybe I think that the yellow jersey does some special things to players, so God knows what will happen.
Seriously.
But I thought the interesting one was Pati Rana because he's had some great seasons for Chennai, but I don't know what's gone wrong there.
I think it's a case for just injuries, man. I just think that he's been injured a lot lately, and I think it's high time. I think if you look at how CSK have been trusting these players, I don't think it's been working out for them. Let's be honest here. And I think Patriana over the last 2 seasons has been a little, I would say, below average. I think he just keeps putting those unnecessary wide balls and no balls for no reason. And I think after a point, imagine Dhoni's patience also went down a little bit. So I'm guessing that could be the only issue there because of his injury and just his inconsistency in the last 2 years.
What
Yeah.
about Rachan Ravindra? Like, why release Rachan?
I think
Uh,
it just hasn't worked out, right?
it just hasn't worked
Essentially.
out. It's again, I think if you go look at that team from last season, look at the Rahul Tripathi coming in one down, Rahul Tripathi sometimes opening, and then you have Vijay Shankar coming in one down, and then you have Rachin Ravindra coming in two down. If you don't have the firepower in the start, how do you expect Rachin Ravindra to even do anything? Only in the second season, after they had their mini training camp or a mini scouting camp, which Chennai have never done in the history of the IPL, where they brought in 2 players. They got in Ayush Matre, an absolute revelation, and the baby ABD, Devol
Devil
Brevis. So
Brevis.
so you just saw that shift in the way they were approaching games. And even though they finished last season, I actually think it's great that Chennai Super Kings are trying to like revamp their squad, and it's going to be an exciting auction for them because for the first time, you don't know what CSK are going to do, and that's the beauty of the mini auction.
Yeah. And CSK has been a team that, has usually always kept their core together. But I think this core just didn't work out. I think Rachin was someone they had a lot of hopes on, but
Yeah.
it just that consistency never came out of him. And they didn't really use him as a bowler also that much. It was mainly as an opening batter. and he wasn't able to really get them off to those flying starts. So yeah, I mean, I think Chennai will be bidding. I think, like you said, Cam Green is going to be a hot property. I think Jamie Smith will be a hot property considering the season he had. I know we watched him in the Test series, but he's been pretty good in the 100 also. So yeah, I think these are the players these guys will be looking at, and maybe they'll go back in for Patirana. You never know, right? It's
Yeah,
just that you might
maybe
get him
they
at a
buy
cheaper
back a
price.
few players. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, just get him at a cheaper price.
Mhm.
I
But
think that's what KKR is doing with certain release players as well. They want to buy them back at a lower price because you essentially overpaid for like the likes of Venkatesh Iyer and
yeah,
even Russell. Maybe they want to buy him back at a lower price. But yeah,
yeah,
No,
like you
we
said,
can go
go straight into
straight.
that.
We can go straight into KKR and 64.3 crores in the mini auction out of 125 crores. That is unbelievable. That's more than half of them, half of that kitty
Half that
available for
team.
them.
and
Yeah,
an additional 5 crores from the BCCI. So the
Yeah, so
BCCI is giving an additional 5 crores to each team. So they essentially have like 70 crores
no,
and
it's included. It's included. So it was 120 last season. It's 125 now.
right. Okay.
So they have 13 slots to fill. 13.
yeah,
They have
it's
out of those
exciting.
30, 6 overseas.
And they've gotten rid of all their wicket keepers. If you look at Quinton de Kock, Gurbaz, and I believe Loveneet Sisodia is
Lovely
also
to
a
see.
wicket keeper. So they are essentially Jamie Smith is probably hot property for them more than anyone else. They're probably looking at him, and I can see a lot of lot of other teams raising the hand just to make KKR spend max dollar on that. But I think the main thing they were trying to get rid of was Venkatesh Iyer. They know 24 crores or whatever, 23.75 was far too much. I'm pretty sure they'll go back in for him, but I don't think they'll probably cap it at maybe 14, 15. I don't see them paying more than that this time around.
No, I 100% agree. I just think Venkatesh Iyer for 23.75 crores was an unbelievable decision last
Steep.
season, and it's pretty
Yeah.
obvious, right? It's pretty obvious. They literally put out all their and put out half their team outside, being like, "Listen, we want a new team. We want to revamp our entire squad." But also, if you look at their retained list, right? Like, I just don't see. I don't see the wow factor. You know what I mean? Like obviously Ajinkya
Yeah.
Rahane, their top scorer, and then you have this beautiful looking youngster Raghuvanshi who's been decent. Manish
Yeah.
Pandey, Ramandeep Singh, Rinku Singh. I think anytime we talk about Rinku Singh, obviously, like, we call him the finisher. But don't you guys think he needs to be promoted a little up the order?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's T20. Your best players should be facing as many balls as possible. So I think essentially they should like push him up anytime after the 13th, 14th, 13th over. I would say he should come in. 15th is a little too much.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think maybe this is what they're considering they've lost so many of their batsmen. That bowling still looks okay to me. I mean, Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan are like the best in the business. I mean, Harshit Rana, as much as we make fun of him on this podcast, but he does a pretty decent job for KKR. And I think Weber Varora is also a decent fast bowler. Maybe another foreign fast bowler because they got rid of Nokia. But yeah, I think the main focus will be on a wicketkeeper and
Wicketkeeper.
strengthening that batting lineup. Maybe foreign
I think
batters.
I think they go with Josh English, who can give them keeping and like an overseas batsman.
Yeah.
And he's released, like which was a little bit of a surprise, right? From Punjab.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's an interesting one there.
Yeah.
then Pointing mentioned this, in the Star Sports interview. Pointing mentioned that English won't be available for the fag end of the season because he's getting married. So I think from
Oh,
a from a from a franchise perspective, I thought that was a smart decision because if he's not going to be playing more than 5 games for you, you'd rather put him outside. And what he's around 2.6 or 2.8 crores they bought him for. So, and props to English for being honest about his timeline so that he can have a good married life. So that's
yeah.
good.
What a ruthless
See,
franchise. You're getting married, sorry. No money for you.
Why do you
but
why do you think
it's honestly
Pointing's
the
at the helm?
ruthless English players because most all these English players are always like pulling out last minute. Like even Harry Brook did that.
In for a change. But is there any other team we need to take a look at, you think? I think most of the teams that finished in the top four last year have essentially held on to most of their team. And the teams like Chennai and KKR who struggled are looking for massive overhauls.
That apps. I think we can talk about a team which don't believe in the meaning of overhaul. That's Mumbai Indians. They are like,
Yeah.
listen, we want the exact same team. We'll remove the bacha parties out, but we'll keep the same core. And in the words of Harsha Bogle, even though they were in the top four last season, they still look like they underperformed, which I agree
Yeah.
because that is a super team out there. They have Rohit Sharma, they have Surya Kumar Yadav, they have Jasprit Bumrah, they have Hardik Pandya, they have Tilak Verma. Now, what else
Yeah.
do you need? What else do you need? What else do you need from a team? From an Indian
Yeah.
contingent standpoint, they are top notch. But again, they have such a solid team. They have only five players remaining, and they have 2.75 crores. So I think they're chilling. They're cruising.
Yeah. I don't think they'll show up for the auction. They don't need to do anything. I
They're gonna
also
be
like Shafin Rutherford as a trade from Gujarat also. Pretty decent player. And I think they were playing Ryan Rickleton last year, so that's an extra option in case one is not in form. But yeah, Balaji, you were saying something?
saying they're gonna be busy buying the empires this season.
My Geo connection is going to go for a toss, please. But
No, jeez.
Karak, do you want to talk a little about Sunrisers? You've made way, and Mr. Mohammad Shami has left your team.
No, I think, fair enough. I thought it was a fair decision. He didn't play that well last season. And obviously going to Lucknow for the same price, I think it made sense. Also, great news for Sunrisers that Klassen, Ishan Kishan, the core has been retained. Klassen, Ishan, Cummins, Head, Abhishek, and
Abhishek.
Nitish. So
Yeah.
the core has been retained. And, if you just look at Abhishek Sharma right now, he is a hot commodity there. And
Yeah.
it's just that, I think I'm a Sunrisers fan now. So, I just think that, if he clicks, I just think that the title is near. And obviously we have around 25.5 crores remaining with 10 players. We've obviously, unfortunately, had to make do with Rahul Chahar, Abhinav Manohar, class players, class personality to have. But then I feel like, we're in the right direction. Hopefully, strengthen that bowling attack, get an overseas bowler or get a great Indian bowler. And then I think things will start looking good.
Yeah. I mean, Sunrisers, like you said, I think last season was just sort of an off season because, again, the core of that team is scary. I remember when the first auction came out and all those guys went to one team. I was like, how have they let this happen? Because that core is still extremely strong. So we'll see how they do next year. Oh yeah, Shami's gone to LSG, right? So
Yeah.
LSG have got quite the bowling lineup now. As long as they can stay fit, I know like they're all like what's that? Mohsin Khan, Mayank Yadav. They've all had injury issues, but if all of those guys are fit, that is one deadly bowling lineup.
Yeah. With Mitch
No, no,
Marsh as well.
101%. And also, I think we're forgetting that, there has been a coaching change in the Lucknow Super Giants helm. They have
Yeah.
roped in Bharat Arun, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who knows how to use Mohammad Shami really well, and the man who just knows how to groom Indian bowlers. And I think it's a great, great choice. And if you just look at the retention from Lucknow, it screams Bharat Arun with respect to Mayank Yadav being there, who's an
Yeah.
unbelievable fast bowler, who's only played 5 games in the last 2 seasons. But if he's fit, with Mohammad Shami being fit and Mohsin Khan coming in, I feel like they have a formidable lineup if they just go into the auction and potentially buy a great pacer, great foreign pacer. I think they do it really well in the league.
Yeah. I think this team, again, last year, Bunt had an awful season. If he can be a better leader and contribute with the bat, they probably will have a better year. With that
Apart
bowling
from
lineup,
that
if
one innings. That one innings that
when it
came
didn't
to
matter, when it didn't matter.
the
So it was a redundant innings. But yeah, I think exciting prospects for the next mini auction. I have a question for you guys. Which player do you think is going to go for the highest amount of money? Balaji, first to you.
Cameron Green.
And roughly, how much do you think that price tag is going to be?
16.5.
Wow. Karak, what about you?
15, 16, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna go about 23.
Really?
Yeah. I think Chennai and KKR
In
are
a
gonna
mini
go.
auction.
Chennai and KKR are gonna go at it for Cameron Green. He
Yeah.
is the most important commodity for both of them. KKR have let out Andre Russell. Chennai Super Kings have let out Ravindra Jadeja. They need an all-rounder. They need a specialized all-rounder who can hit, who can bowl, who can field. And Cameron Green was the answer. And if you don't get Cameron Green, you have Andy Russell. So I think they're gonna go apeshit crazy on him.
So who do you
Yeah.
think is getting it? KKR, CSK?
Again, it depends on when he comes on, right? That's the beauty
Yeah.
of the mini auction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't know when he comes on. You just have no idea when. Number 12, Andre Russell comes in. Let's see what happens there.
Yeah. I honestly think KKR feels like they're done with Andre Russell. They're maxed out because it's not like he was on a lot of money. So I think they're going to go all out for Cam Green and Jamie Smith. And yeah, 23. I'm not sure it'll be 23, but it'll be close, 1920 maybe. I think somewhere in between both your numbers is where I think. I also think Jamie Smith will probably go for 16, 17, in my opinion, because that's the one. And I know you said Josh Inglis is there, but he's not going to be able to play the whole season. So I think that hot property in terms of a wicket keeper will be Jamie Smith. And then maybe in terms of an outsider, Prithvi Shaw has been scoring a lot of runs recently. I don't know if he'll go for a lot of money, but maybe 5, 6 crores. Some team could go in for him.
100%. I think a team which needs an opener. I feel like even for KKR, I think Prithvi Shaw would be a great start, because they don't have Gurbaz, they don't have Decock.
Yeah,
So it looks like they need an Indian opener, and I think Prithvi Shaw could be a great pick if he comes in at 2 crores for KKR. Bro, I take him in a
yeah,
heartbeat. Even 4 crores, for example, because KKR have a lot of money now. So I think Prithvi
yeah.
Shaw could also be a cheeky signing.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you don't know his attitude, right? He could be partying, he could be wanting to score 100. You don't know which side of Prithvi Shaw he will get. But recently, I think his form in the Ranji Trophy and stuff has been pretty good. So I'm sure all the teams will be looking at that. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add to the IPL segment?
I think
You're good?
we've covered majority
Any
of it.
early predictions on who will come out on top in this mini auction?
Hmm.
Uh,
No
it's pretty
big
obvious,
losers
right?
actually.
It's tough to say. I just think KKR, because of the size of the purse that they have, they will be dominating most of the auction. Again, if Cam Green comes early, I can see all the other teams will push them to the max, and we could maybe see. You said 23, it could be maybe 25 because if they've got one player on their mind, they will go all guns blazing, right? But like you said, there's not many other players who are really available, so it's going to be a battle till the end for Cam Green and maybe Jamie Smith as well. But yeah, moving on from IPL, Balaji, we see the little Red Bull T-shirt in your background. We know you're a big F1 fan, so could you just tell us like your brief thoughts on this season?
I think this is one of the seasons which every F1 fan in general would have like looked forward to having after that dominance in the last 3.5 years that we've seen of Max, like the Max Verstappen era. It was great to see like McLaren like dominate the first half of the season. Although it was getting boring, just when it gets boring, Max and Red Bull come up with their amazing upgrades. Maybe a little too late, maybe like 2, 3 races late, but he's given us a season to like not forget. Like he's made sure that this 2026 season was not boring. Will he win? Maybe not, but it's definitely like he's maybe aided in Norris's championship win. Like I'm saying aided because it's when Max started dominating that you saw Piastri's performances fall as well, which kind of helped. Like in a two-way fight, it's like there's always the other person to win. But in a three-way fight, two people are helping one person win. So that's how I see this season. I think mathematically he's out, but you never know
Mm.
with Max Verstappen. One Lando Norris crash and he's right back in.
Yeah, 100%. I think also we're talking about Oscar Piastri, he was actually, he had a deal with Grilled, it's this burger company in Australia. And since they posted the story of if at all Oscar Piastri gets into the podium, we'll give you free burgers. Oscar Piastri has decided not to finish. So imagine Grilled had to like just stop that promotion because they've jinxed the Australian boy, and now the promotions are done, and hopefully let's see what happens to Oscar Piastri. But again, I think it's been a sensational season. I haven't been watching that much, but obviously, I've been seeing here and there, and I thought Max's comeback has been great for the sport in general. But also, I'd like to ask you another question, Balaji, just with respect to Drive to Survive on Netflix, which came out 4 years back. How has that shaped the sport? Because, now you see every Tom, Dick, and Harry being an absolute diva about F1. So, what do you make of Drive to Survive, and what else is there in store for Formula One going forward?
So I think it's definitely done wonders to the sport. Like, of course, the viewership has increased drastically. Like, if you see their revenues in terms of sponsorships, viewerships, everything's gone up in the last 6 years. Actually, Drive to Survive came out, what, in 2018 or 2019, almost 7 seasons.
Oh, wow.
7 years. And I think in the last couple of years, it's really like converted people into like fans. And you're suddenly seeing so many diehard, like, of course, women start following the sport because of Leclerc because he's cute. Then it became like, uh, then it became maybe like, oh, we're all Lando Norris fans now, and like they're supporting him. Now there's suddenly so much of hate around Lando Norris, and there's all these Max haters have turned into Max fans looking at his performance. But I mean, I think it's definitely done more good to the sport than anything. Uh, and yeah, that's my take on like Drive
Wh-
to Survive. And
What about the F1 movie? Because whoever I've spoken about the F1 movie, proper fans of F1 hated the movie, and people who don't watch F1 seem to love the movie. What did you think of that movie?
so I think, see, the thing is, for a fan who's been watching the sport for like over 6-7 years now, the movie is very unrealistic. Like, nothing of that can happen in the actual sport. it's it's like, but it's definitely entertaining for a first time watcher, like someone who doesn't watch the sport, doesn't get much on like how the points work, how the season works. It's a great segue into the sport, I would say. Like, okay, once you watch the
Yeah.
movie, you're like, okay, a little more interested. Then you watch like a few seasons of Drive to Survive. Then you get to watch a season like this live with like so much. Like, this is great, right? We've not seen a three-way fight in what, 15, in like 10, 12, 15 years maybe. Like, ever since Vettel's dominance, you haven't seen this kind of three-way fight. It's always been like a two-way fight. So this is great, like in terms of
Yeah.
having this season and having Max, Oscar, and Lando fighting. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more about the F1 movie, Shiv. I generally thought Tara Rampam was a better movie.
What the hell? Bro, I like the F1 movie, man.
Now, you don't understand. If you watch Tara Rampam, I'm telling you, some of the scenes were literally taken from that movie. Like, there was a point where I was like, what the hell is Brad Pitt doing? And I've watched a lot of F1 back in the day with my brother. And then when I watched that movie, I just started laughing because, some of the things, like you mentioned, Balaji, unbelievably, like I don't know what to tell you. Like, I started laughing and people were just cheering them on. Brad Pitt, come on! And I was like, this
Sonny
doesn't happen.
Williams. What was his name? Sonny? What was
Sonny
his
Hayes.
name?
Sonny
Sonny Hayes.
Hayes.
Sonny Hayes, Sonny Hayes. But I mean, I'm not the biggest F1 fan, so I kind of enjoyed the movie. Although I picked up that a lot of this is probably unrealistic, but I still thought it was well shot. So, but yeah, do you have any gossip about next one's F1 season? Like, I know there's some transfers that's going to happen, but is there anything else that's been said under the radar regarding next season in terms of transfers and things like that?
in terms of F1.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's there are only 3 seats available right now. The one Red Bull seat apart from Max, and the other two Red Bull VC RB seats. Uh, those are going to be taken between Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, and Isaac Hadjar. Hadjar's had a great season, so he's definitely staying. It's there's also a Red Bull academy driver that's going to maybe step in. He's a really young driver. I think his name's Arvin Lindbad. He's he's probably like in contention for the one of the 3 seats. That's what's going to be. It's going to be. Otherwise, the rest, everyone's like Perez is coming back to the sport with Cadillac,
Mm-hmm.
and Bottas as well. Bottas is coming back with Cadillac as well. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting to watch. Now, in the next season, we don't have the DRS. The DRS is not going to be there in the. We're moving from the ground hybrid era to a new, new like era. So let's see. It's very interesting how the teams will
Yeah.
perform next year.
Also, I have
Yeah.
a
Well.
follow-up question to that. Sorry, Shiv. Obviously, like, you've obviously been an ardent F1 fan. Um, when's the next driver coming out from India? Like, we always have to ask this question because, the only thing we talk about when it comes to like Indian sportsmen is cricketers. So I'd like to understand, what's missing from an Indian standpoint that, why can't we have Indian drivers being in that paddock?
I think we did have, right? Like we did have Gian Darwala in F2 last year, and lately we've had Kush Maini putting in some great performances in F2. He is the Alpine reserve driver as well for F1, I think. So it's just maybe, hopefully, a matter of time. It's also, I think, a lot to do with F1, right? Like if they want the viewership to increase in a certain country, they kind of like push uh, teams to like pick drivers from those countries, and it's very expensive as a sport, right? Like you keep paying until you're driving for like one of the best teams until you finally get paid. So in terms, I just think purely it's lack of monetary support in the sport from an Indian standpoint, because you're seeing mostly it's British drivers, right? Like you have what, three British drivers on the grid out of 20. That's like a lot of like representation. So ideally, I would say like it's lack of monetary, support in terms of sponsorships. And maybe it's a matter of time before which we have like Kush maybe
Yeah.
step up into like F1. One bad
Yeah.
race for one of the Alpine drivers, maybe they're sick, bring him in,
Mm-hmm.
he performs, and then like he retains a seat. So it's just a matter of time, hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully they can be better than Narayan Karthikeyan and Karun Chandok. Maybe go on to some bigger teams. But yeah, I hope. I feel like you guys, as you mentioned, the season is coming to an end soon, and Max is just about in the hunt. So maybe there's some hope for you. But there was another event that happened last night, Karak, which was quite exciting. The Sinner Alcaraz battle continues, and the latest edition has been won by Mr. Yannick Sinner. So, Rohit, what did you make of the game last night?
Firstly, Shiv, what a game. Listen, it was sensational. I think the level at which these two are operating right now is something else. And I think in the next 15 years, we'll come back to all the games they've played and we'll be like, wow, what are we watching? 2 hours and 12 minutes, 2 sets of high
Yeah.
quality. Sinner, man, I feel bad for those tennis balls. The way he was smashing it,
Sending it.
brother. Brother, listen, there was a point where I just muted my TV and I was like, okay, I'm feeling bad for the tennis balls now. I don't want to listen to the noise. I'll watch it normally. Listen, these two guys are baseline beasts. Are like bang, bang, they're whacking. And dude,
Yeah.
finally I'm seeing the difference in Sinner's game where he's kind of reading Alcaraz's game from start to finish. I feel like the drop shots, for example, Alcaraz just got 1 out of 5. and Sinner was just rapid. Sinner lobbing. When is the last time I
Mhm.
ever saw him lob?
Yeah.
Never.
So many. Yeah.
Sinner lob, and you won't believe it. Shiv and I were. If you just if I show my chat with Shiv, he'll be like, "Oh my god, wow, WTF!" Like we were like, "What the hell is going on?" Right? And
Yeah.
and that's the thing, right? When I think about tennis now, I just know you're gonna get a Sinner Alcaraz final, so I don't bother watching the other Chotu games, right? Because this is the pinnacle of tennis at the moment, and I don't think anything
Yeah.
can stop it. But Shiva, you being a Sinner fan, what did you make of it?
No. I thought yesterday was Sinner's day, and you could see with the Italian crowd behind him, he was up for it. I think that was the main difference. Also, Sinner served a lot better as
Lot.
compared to some of his previous games against Alcaraz. Like his serve percentage was a lot higher, and again, the baseline game we know he has. Like he can consistently smack the ball as you described. But yeah, the variety, the lobs he played yesterday, a couple of drop shots. I'd still like to see it a little bit more, but the game was pretty much even, and of course, Alcaraz had a break in the second set, right? And then he
Exactly.
loses
He
that
broke
break.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
That composure that Sinner showed after getting broken and coming back was brilliant.
exactly. And I thought Alcaraz in that moment got a bit complacent. Even in that one game where he was serving, he had a pretty easy forehand, one volley at the net where he misses. And that's the game where Sinner breaks him. So
Yeah.
essentially it was that, like we've discussed about Alcaraz, he has those, like moments where he just fades away. And against a player like Sinner, he's always there to capitalize. But yeah, I also I think Balaji, you sent me that stat today. If you want to tell our viewers that stat that you read today.
Yeah. After yesterday's final, I think both of them they've played about 3,600 points or so, and no, a little more, but each of them have won 1,651 points each. So that shows you the level of like how like neck to neck they both of them are. Eventually, we don't know who's going to come out on top of each other, but they're giving us like maybe the best like decade. The next best tennis decade is going to be Alcaraz Sinner. I'm a Sinner fan just because of his composure. I feel like he's a lot like calmer. Alcaraz, in that sense, is a little more like
Yeah.
aggressive, even in the game style, right? Like he attacks the net a lot more. Sinner is a little more calm. Like you saw, I think like yes, one out yesterday is those lobs. Those lobs really
Yeah.
like when was the last time you saw so many lobs in tennis? Like you said, it's crazy. Like
From Sinner especially, like we
yeah, after getting broken in the first set, I mean in the first game of the second set to coming back was crazy.
yeah. I mean, I think just like I said, with the Italian crowd behind him, I think he just wanted it a little bit more than Alcaraz. For me, that was essentially the difference. And Alcaraz, of course, played a great game, but Sinner, just that desire to win in front of his home fans was there, and also sort of revenge from the U.S. Open,
From the
right?
US Open, yeah.
No, but also
Yeah.
I think just to add about Alcaraz yesterday, I thought some of his decision making was very poor. I thought he was rushing himself to the net for no reason. We all saw how Sinner was smashing that ball, and I understand that Alcaraz wanted to mix it up a little bit by going in, going up, rushing into the net. But it just didn't make sense because his volley game was horrendous yesterday. And you would never say that about Alcaraz, right? Because,
Yeah.
Alcaraz, with his net points, he's going to get at least 15 out of 16, right? His net game was all over the place. I thought Sinner did really well attacking his backhand throughout the game. And this one thing I realized after that game was that Sinner looks like he can beat anybody in the tour closing his eyes except Alcaraz, whereas Alcaraz can beat Sinner, can try
Yeah.
to beat Sinner, okay? But he might struggle with the others on tour only because of his mental space.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And also, that's why it moves me to my next question is like, of course, we know these two are going to be there playing finals repeatedly.
Mhm.
If you had to pick one player to challenge them next season on tour, a question for both of you essentially. Who do you think that one player will be?
Ah, one player, okay, dark horse, Alex de Minaur. fantastic end to the season. I thought, we did very well to reach the ATP World Final. And if he's consistent enough, just a dark horse again, don't take my word for
Yeah.
it. But I think just from a standpoint of battling it out physically, I think Dimino can do that with Sinner. And I think Dimino can do that with Alcaraz too. But only time will tell. Obviously, I love Medvedev, but
Yeah.
Medvedev's
He's
stocks have been
done.
plummeting down. I don't know what is going on there, but
Yeah.
see, imagine like I need to think of 9, 10 players to come up with a name,
Yeah.
right?
These guys have played every final, so it's tough to not it's tough to look past them. I'm hoping Fritz can do something also.
Taylor Fritz, yeah.
He's yeah.
I think Fritz has like if you look at Fritz's game, I went for the US Open this year. His service is, I think, one of like it's definitely in the top 3, right? Like he's got an
Yeah.
amazing serve, and like to beat Alcaraz or Sinner, you need to have a good serve. Like that's maybe that
Yeah.
one place where you can beat them. So
Yeah, I think Fritz has also had a better season this year. Of course, he's not got to that final hurdle yet. But like he beat Alcaraz in the Laver Cup. Not that it's the same level of competition, but I'm just saying it's a mental battle, right? Because Fritz has a pretty good game, pretty good overall game. It's just whether he can win
and
the
the height.
mental battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, someone or the other. Like when Djokovic came to, I know it hurt us as a Federer and Nadal fan, but it just adds a little bit more. And maybe if a third player comes, there'll be more spice on the tour.
Maybe
But yeah,
Djokovic himself comes back to beat these two guys.
Right.
no
I
thank you.
think
No
that's
thank you.
But also, I think Djokovic also has realized that, he just can't keep up with these monsters. Yeah, look at them run.
Yeah.
Look at how both of them are hitting that ball. Djokovic will feel bad and Djokovic will retire next season. But another player who I think can do something could be Fonseca, this Brazilian kid, 19 years old.
Yeah.
He had a pretty underwhelming tour this year. Huge expectations, but didn't do that great. But never know. I think he has the forehand to match Sinner and Alcaraz. He has a ferocious forehand, and if he gets that good thing going consistently, then you never know, man. But again,
Yeah.
I just think from a tennis landscape standpoint, tough years, because if these two are gonna be playing like this, I don't see anybody coming in, and that's sad. And that's sad
Yeah.
for a sport like tennis, because predominantly it's a 3-player sport or a 4-player sport, and now it's going to become a 2-player sport, which is a cause for concern if you look at it from a different perspective. But again,
Yeah.
these two guys smash it out of the park.
I'd say don't rule it out. You never know where these players come out from. Like you said, Fonseca also a young kid, so he's got plenty of time on his side. And players come. I think Felix has had a pretty good season this year. I don't know if he can push further, but yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping we get some more competition, so we get some more exciting semi-finals. Otherwise, we'll just be watching the finals of all these tournaments. But yeah, I think that's been a pretty good roundup of the cricket action. Also, Balaji giving us some F1 insights. And of course, we got to see Sinner and Alcaraz. But yeah, that's been episode 15 of the Clutch Report. Balaji, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I had a great time speaking about F1 especially, and of course cricket.
Yeah.
Our roots.
And yeah, we have the international break going on, so unfortunately we're not talking any football. So we have another cricket episode coming up soon. We will be doing an Ashes preview in the next few days, right before that starts. So yeah, that's been episode 15, and we'll catch you in the next one.